Hello YouTube, this is the Real Naughty Victoria, and this video is movies that have made me cry. Well, when I say movies that have made me cry, I'm not your typical crier. I don't cry during movies or TV shows that are typical cry movies, like The Notebook was a typical cry movie. I didn't even honestly like that movie. Unpopular opinion, but I hated that movie. Movies like Nicholas Sparks' books in general make me cry, but like his movies aren't that good. Like they don't cast them well, so I don't generally cry during them. And this is a list of movies that have actually made me cry because I don't cry during romantic comedies, and I could probably count on two hands alone how many movies I've cried during because I don't cry that often. During movies, I almost never do. And just a warning now, if you haven't seen the movies I'm listing, then I'm going to spoil them for you. So I'm going to say the name of the movie before I actually explain why it made me cry. Okay, first movie that made me cry. A Walk to Remember. A movie that was so good. Like, it made me cry when Jamie, from the moment that Jamie first told him that she had leukemia. Like, that part on, like, my eyes were bawling with tears. Like, I typically don't cry that much at movies, but like, yeah, I cried during that movie. The only Nicholas Sparks book known to man that I have watched that I've cried during. The rest of them aren't really that well casted. They're not well scripted. They're like, they leave too much parts out. Side note. The next movie is The Deathly Hallows, Part 2. Part 1 was just leading us on to part 2. It's part 2 that really makes everyone cry because it's like the end of the series. It's like the last movie you're ever gonna see with the original cast. They may make repeats of it, but it's not gonna be the original cast, and it makes you sad. And from Snape's death on, made me cry. Like, I was bawling my eyes out. Like, it was sad, and I don't usually cry that much at movies because I'm telling you, I'm not a typical crier. Like, if I'm gonna cry during a movie, it's gonna be when I'm watching the movie at home, and these movies are the only movies that have ever made me cry at the theater. And the next movie is Keith. It has Justin McCartney in it. Okay, don't go and say, oh, Justin McCartney, I don't want to sit there and watch a movie with a pop star in it. It's not going to be good. No, this movie is really good. It's about this boy who has cancer, and then he, like, falls for this one girl, and then he dies at the end. Again, I'm going to give you a lot of disclaimers, so if you hear a name of the movie you haven't seen already, I'm sorry. You're just going to have to cut my video off right now, and then go watch it, and then come back to the video. Another movie that makes me bawl my eyes out is Finding Neverland. It's a story of J.M. Barrie. Like, it's not just that movie that makes me cry, it's the ending that makes me cry. Like, when the woman dies, and then when the little boy is on that little seat at the end of the movie, and he's crying about his mother dying, and then Johnny Depp / J.M. Barrie is, like, there comforting him. That's the part that makes me cry. Like, I didn't cry the entire movie until that little scene right there. The one TV show that makes me cry is Touched by an Angel. Touched by an Angel makes me cry almost every time someone on the show dies on the show. Like, when they do a casework about, if you haven't seen the show, like, I'm talking to you like you've seen the show. Well, the TV show is about angels who help certain people out with their problems, and I almost never cry unless somebody that they're helping out dies at the end. And this one episode that always gets to me, that Joseph Cross, amazing actor, he's been in, like, numerous things that maybe a lot of you haven't seen. But every single time he's in a movie, a scene of it makes me tear up. And the one episode that makes me cry of Touched by an Angel is, I think it's called Psalm 151. But it's about this boy who has cystic fibrosis, and cystic fibrosis is a disease that eventually kills you at a very young age. When you have cystic fibrosis as a boy or a girl, they don't expect you to live past 14. And he makes a list of things he wants to do before he dies. And then the one most important thing he wants to do before he dies is to see that his mother finishes a song that she's been working on since the day he was born. And at the very end, she works on the song the entire episode, and then she finishes at the very last episode, the very last scene of the episode. And she sings it like he's weak. He's getting weaker and weaker and weaker. And by this point, he had one stint in the hospital that they said he would probably die in the stint of the hospital, but then they decided to take him home. And then she shows him that she completed the song, and then while she's singing the song to him on the porch, he dies. So that episode makes me cry. And then another movie that has Joseph Cross in it, look him up, watch his movies, it's called Wide Awake. It's about this little boy who's trying to find God after his grandfather died. That movie always makes me cry. Christmas on Division Street, that has Fred Savage. This movie, I'm not going to explain why it made me cry. You're just going to have to look it up and find out what about it made me cry. Last movie on here that dear to my heart made me cry, Never Let Me Go. I'm making sure that you guys have seen this, because if you have not seen this, get off my video right now, come back to this video, watch it over again, and then, because I'm about to destroy everything about this movie right now. Like, I love it. It's wonderful. It was an independent movie, and it shouldn't have been. Like, somebody in Hollywood should have been paying for this movie, because, like, Never Let Me Go was an awesome movie, and, like, it's so good. Like, I'm about to ruin it for you, so if you haven't seen it, then I would honestly suggest you watch it before you come back to this. It's about this woman, it's about these three people. Andrew Garfield makes me cry. And they were made, these people that are at this boarding school were made to be organ donors. Like, some of you probably won't get that concept until, like, mid-video. Or you may not even get it. Like, I just explained it to you right now. They were made to be, they were modeled after other people to be organ donors. It's a book, too, if you want to go read the book before you watch the movie and then come back to the video. They're born to be organ donors, and then almost by the third organ donation, they most likely die. And so, the Andrew Garfield's character, I'm blanking on their names right now, but, like, Andrew Garfield's character falls in love with Keira Knightley's character, or, like, he is first with Keira Knightley's character. And then he gets with that other girl that's in the movie. I can't remember her. Carey Mulligan. If you know her name, write it down, comment. But I'm bad at names. Like, if you're not Andrew Garfield and you're in the Andrew Garfield movie, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to remember your name. Her last name is Mulligan. I'm just going to call her the Mulligan girl. The Mulligan girl is in love with Andrew Garfield's character. And, like, I'm just going to fast forward it. I'm leaving out a ton of crap. But they find out, like, he finally decides to be with her. Like, he finally decides to be with the Mulligan girl. And he's already on his, like, second donation. Like, he already donated twice. And, like, by the third donation, you usually die at the end of the third organ donation. And they fall in love. And then he hears from a certain people that if you fall in love with somebody, like, if they truly believe that you're in love with somebody else. Okay, backstory tangent. The Mulligan girl is a different type of person. Like, she was born at the same, like, boarding school that raises the people for organ donors. But, like, she gets longer time because she's, like, a caretaker. But after she's done with her caretaker job, she's going to be put up for, like, organ donations. Like, they're going to use her for her organs, too. So none of them are, like, raised differently. Like, they're all like, she's just a caretaker. Back to the story. And he finds out, like, he thinks, like, somebody told him that if he falls truly in love, like, if he's truly in love, it buys them more time to live. And then but they have to prove it in what you do. Like, so he does all this artwork. He wastes his precious moments, like, making this artwork. And he's like, I'm in love with you. He said that to the Maltese girl. And he's like, I'm in love with you. I'm going to make this artwork. We're going to go to wherever we need to go and show them. The saddest part of the whole movie is when they find out that it's all a lie. Like, you don't get free time. Like, all of it's a lie. Like, what he was told about you can make your artwork, or they can truly show that you're in love, and that buys you time, was all a lie. And the one part that will always make me cry, no matter how many times I've seen this movie, and I've seen this movie quite sometimes, and it's the part when he's screaming, like, he's so upset, and they're, like, on the side of the road, and he's, like, screaming, crying, and he can't take it anymore because he was just lied to, and he just built his hopes up on nothing. And the last scene also makes me cry. It's him on the organ donor table, and they're, like, about to cut him open. And, like, that's the beginning of the movie, too, but I don't want to ruin it for you, even though I already did. So, Never Let Me Go. If you haven't seen it, I just ruined all of it for you. And that's the movies that made me cry. If you guys have any more movies that make you cry, comment under this, tweet me, anything. Bye!